I'm audible to you, and you can listen to me loud and clear. And this is the next session of our quarantine batch on the Unacademy CAT-alyst session. And you're with me, Arun Sharma, and as you know, I'm an author with McGraw-Hill, and I'm a 20-time CAT qualifier. Well, my percentiles normally always range amongst 99.96 to 99.99, uh, with several hundred percentiles in quants and BI. And today's session, I'm essentially talking to you about, we are continuing our quarantine batch previous year questions and strategies. So with respect to strategy, a lot of people ask me this question कि प्रिपरेशन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अभी हमको क्या करना चाहिए, व्हाट शुड आई डू राइट नाउ, व्हाट शुड बी माय प्लान. सो एसेंशियली देखो, एक चीज़ आई वांट टू टॉक अबाउट बिफोर आई गेट इनटू द क्वेश्चंस फॉर टुडे. One thing I want to talk to you about is that when you plan your preparation for CAT, you have to plan your preparation in two phases. दो फेज में प्लान करना है प्रिपरेशन को तुमको. यू हैव टू प्लान योर प्रिपरेशन इन टू फेजेस. एंड उसका फेज वन जो होता है वो द फेज वन ऑफ प्रिपरेशन is slightly different from phase 2. Phase 1 of your preparation is doing your basics. So this is completing portion. So during phase 1, the core objective is to complete portion. And phase 2 mein, the core objective becomes Phase 2 में the core objective becomes to go for a testing, test, analyze, go back to the drawing board. Work on your basics, and come back to the tests. This is phase 2 of your preparation. Now, ideally, in an ideal scenario, phase 2 should be something which should be done by you exclusively between July to November. So last 4 months of prep should essentially be under phase 2. And phase 1 of prep जो है वो then ideally तुम्हारा जून एंड तक खत्म हो जाना चाहिए. You should finish phase 1 of your prep ideally by June end. But for people starting now, yeah, this is okay for people who have started a little bit earlier. So if you have started in Jan or Feb, if you started your preparation in January or February, then completing your prep by June end is feasible. It's quite feasible. But अगर तुम अभी start किए, if you started in March or April, तो there will be a certain amount of overlap between phase 1 and phase 2. So that does not mean कि phase 2 में testing को तुमको delay करना चाहिए. A lot of people keep asking this question कि test हमको कब से start करना चाहिए. तो ideal time to start tests is July, because you need at least 4 months, if not earlier. अगर मई जून से कर सकते हो तो even better, लेकिन जुलाई से definitely तुम्हारा testing start हो जाना चाहिए. If you can do it from May June, even better. But July onwards, definitely you should start your testing, and July to November should be your testing time completely. And you have to make sure that you take at least 30 to 40 tests during this phase, 30 to 40 full lit tests during this phase. Right? So, having said that, this is something which I want to mention to you. So, as I said, if you are starting in April, then completing everything by June end might not be feasible. In that case, तुम्हारा एक third phase create होता है, the overlap phase. This is the overlap phase. जहाँ पे तुम testing भी start कर देते हो. You don't, see a lot of people, what I see is that they delay testing कि April से start किए तो August में testing start करेंगे. May में preparation start किए, started preparation May to September से testing start करेंगे. So please understand that this test, analyze, go back to the drawing board, work on some problem solving processes, work on some topics, come back to the tests. This cycle is the most important cycle of CAT prep. This cycle is the most important cycle of CAT prep, and this cycle has to be run exclusively for 4 months minimum. If you're doing it less than 4 months, then you're not giving yourself the best chance to react to the situation or to score your maximum. So please remember that. So just a reminder of my Unacademy Plus presence. As you know, my name is Arun Sharma, and I am an author with McGraw-Hill and a 20-time CAT qualifier. And I have been training people for the CAT for the last 25 years. And now the good news is that I'm also available on Unacademy Plus. And my upcoming courses are the foundation course in DI and the foundation course in foundation strategy course for CAT, for QA. Mostly QA. It's for the whole of CAT, but mostly on QA. And these courses are starting respectively on 14th of April and 28th of April, while my foundation course, the 5 to 7 batch for LR, has already started on 31st of March. So you can access that course also. And upcoming courses from my side through May, June, July will be courses on advanced course on DI, advanced course on LR, ZAT special, IFT special, etc. And if you want to join up Unacademy Plus, you can use my promo code. The promo code is Arun.yt. That's the promo code you'll have to use. If you use that promo code, you'll get a 10% discount on the existing fees. So I look forward to having some of you joining the course through my promo code. And we are looking at, we have seen these two questions yesterday. So this is the next question for today, which I want you to look at. And the question says that a 20% ethanol solution is mixed with another ethanol solution. Say S of unknown concentration in the proportion 1:3 by volume. So there are 2-3 ways in which you can react to this. One way is that if you go through equations and analytical thinking, the following thought process will apply. So what do you say is that suppose I mix X liters of 20% ethanol I mix X liters of 20% ethanol with 3X liters of S% ethanol. Now when I mix this, I get what I get is essentially 4X liters of, let's call it M% ethanol, which is the mixing percentage. When you mix 20% ethanol and S% ethanol in the ratio 1:3, maybe you get 4X liters of M% ethanol. And this, what the question further says ahead, is that this mixture is then mixed with an equal volume of 20% ethanol solution. So you need to understand what this means. So if the mixture is mixed with an equal volume of 20% ethanol solution, it means that you are mixing an equal volume. That means you're mixing 4x. You're mixing 4x of 20% ethanol. With 4x of M% ethanol. And the resultant mixture is a 31.25% ethanol solution. The resultant mixture is a 31.25% ethanol solution. So since the ratio of mixing here is 1:1, the resultant mixture will have the ethanol percentage given as 31.25% in this statement will be the simple average of n% and 20%. So the value of that m can be got by 20 plus m divided by 2 gives me 31.25, and that gives me m is equal to 42.5. So the percentage of, when I mix 20% and S% in the ratio 1:3, I am getting 42.5 ethanol. This is the meaning of this. So the situation here is essentially a weighted average situation. So you can get the answer of S using the formula 1 into 20 plus 3 into S divided by 4 is equal to 42.5. So if you solve this, you will get 3 into S is equal to 170 minus 20, and that gives you the value of S becoming 50, and that's the answer to the question. Option 4 is the right answer here. So this was how you solved it numerically or through algebra. I mean, basically through equations and algebra and the use of the weighted average formula. But you can also do this through allegation. And the way allegation will work is that when you read that first statement till this point actually, when you read that first statement from the start till this point, the green part now on the top, 20% ethanol is mixed with S% ethanol. 20% ethanol is mixed with S% ethanol in the ratio 1:3. So this is basically an allegation situation because we are doing a mixing of two objects or two mixtures, and two mixtures mixed in a certain ratio is always amenable to solving through allegations. So if I look at the allegation structure here, what happens is that if I think of, just by looking at the first statement, what I get is that I'm mixing 20% ethanol with S% ethanol in the ratio 1:3, and that will give me somewhere an M% ethanol. Now, since I do not know S and I do not know M, I can't find out the values of S and M here. But this is not as simple as this. In this case, you have assumed that S is greater than M, greater than 20. You are assuming that 20 is less than M, less than S. But just by looking at the first statement, you do not know whether S is larger than M or larger than 20 or not. So if you're doing this through allegation, you should start off with two parallel pictures, not just one. And the other picture is this one, that if S is less than 20, then S will come here, and the ratio 3:1 will come here, and 20 will come here, and N% will come somewhere in between. So we have two possible scenarios when we look at the first part of the language. Now, in allegation, what you need to understand is that when you mix two mixtures in the ratio 1:3, and when you get the resultant mixture, this resultant mixture is weighted by 4, that is the sum of 1 and 3. So when you go ahead and read the next statement, and it says the mixture is then mixed with an equal volume of 20% ethanol solution, what you are doing, and the resultant is 31.25% ethanol solution, what you realize is that what is happening here is that the resultant m percent, four units of m percent is mixed with 20%. M percent is mixed with 20% to get you 31.25%, and they are mixed in the ratio 1:1 because you are doing equal quantities of both. So two things happen here. First of all, you realize that 31.25 will just be the middle value of m and 20, and more importantly, you also realize that m must be greater than 20, and hence the first picture is what you need to stick to in the starting case. So when you do that, then you get that n percent 1 unit, 20% 1 unit is giving you 31.25% for 2 units together, and that gives you that the value of m must be 42.5. The value of m must be 42.5. And if the value of m is 42.5, if the value of m is 42.5, and I put that here and use alligation on this picture, which is showing me 20% on the left side, 42% on the middle, s percent on the right side, and a ratio of 1:3. What you get is that the 3 is 22.5, so the 1 will be 7.5. So if you go right by 7.5 from 42.5, you get to the answer of 50. So this is the answer to this question. And while this was much superior than the equation method, there is even a faster way of doing this, and that's what I want to show you. The third method of solving this question, and that is if you look at this whole statement together. So what is happening here is that you are first mixing 1 unit of 20% with 3 units of s percent, and then you are further mixing an additional 4 units of 20%. And when you're mixing all these three together in one shot, the outcome you are getting is 31.25%. So to cut the long story short, and to cut the solution short, you could apply alligation simply this way. If you realize this, you could apply alligation simply this way, that you have 5 units of 20% ethanol mixed with 3 units of s percent ethanol to give you 8 units of 31.25% ethanol. So what you can see here is that this 3 corresponds to 11.25. And if 3 corresponds to 11.25, the 5 would correspond, if 3 corresponds to 11.25, the 5 would correspond to 18.75 using unitary method. 5 into 11.25 upon 3. So the right side, you have to basically move 18.75 to the right of 31.25, and when you do that, you reach a value of 50, and that is the answer to this question. So this is a much simpler solution, one shot. और इसको अगर तुम ये realize कर रहे थे कि essentially what you are doing is you are mixing 5 units of 20% with 3 units of S, you could, and then you're getting a 31.25% as the average. You could also solve this using weighted average as 5 into 20 plus 3 into S divided by 8 is equal to 31.25. Let me just write that once more. Clean the slate and write that once more. So if you realize that you're using 5 units of 20% ethanol with 3 units of S percent ethanol, and you're getting 8 units of 31.25% ethanol, that's the mixture. This you can also solve, and you should know that whatever can be solved using weighted average or alligation can also be solved through weighted average. So if I look at this solution, I can also use this solution 5 into 20 plus 3 into S upon 8 is equal to 31.25. So if you take that 8 on that side, you will get, on the right hand side, you will get 250. And on the left hand side, you still have 5 into 20 plus 3 into S. So you end up getting 3S as 250 minus 100. And you get to the same point that S is equal to 150 by 3, which is 50%. So this is how you could have solved this question. Multiple ways of solving this question. Tragedy was that in CAT 2018, a lot of people were not even able to do this question properly. And one last question I'll show you for today, which will be a extension of the reactive process of solving, as I call it. The arithmetic mean of XYZ is 80. So the reaction to that is that the sum of x plus y plus z is 240. Since it's 3 numbers, the sum of these 3 numbers would be 240. That's the first reaction we have. Then the question goes on and says that the mean of x, y, z, u, v is 75. So that tells you that x plus y plus z plus u plus v is equal to 375. And from these two equations, the obvious reaction is that the sum of u plus v has to be 135. And then the question says that u is x plus y by 2 and v is y plus z by 2. So if I use this information at this point in my solution, I will write u as x plus y by 2 and v as y plus z by 2. And this is equal to 135. So if I take the LCM is 2 itself here. So I take that to the right side. I get 270 on this side. On the left hand side, I get x plus 2y plus z as 270. And I'm doing nothing but reacting to the question. So once I get x plus 2y plus z is 270 and x plus y plus z is 240, what I get is that the value of y must obviously be 30. This is got by subtracting 1 from 2. If I do 2 minus 1, I'll get y is equal to 30. And if y is equal to 30, the immediate reaction then becomes that the value of x plus z must be 210. The value of x plus z must be 210. And then the question says, if x is greater than or equal to z, then the minimum possible value of x is greater than or equal to z. So if I want to split 210 upon x and z, my splits, normal splits, without this condition, without this x greater than or equal to z condition, my normal splits are 0, 210, 1, 209, if I am allowed all whole numbers, 2, 208, going all the way to 2091 and 210, 0. This is how the numbers will get stacked up. But the question tells us, because the question is telling me that x is greater than or equal to z, because it's making that compulsory, that x is greater than or equal to z, I cannot because the question is telling me compulsorily that x is greater than or equal to z, I will have to take only those values of x where x is greater than or equal to z, and greater than or equal to both are allowed. So if I visualize that, I will be able to see that 105 and 105 is the starting case for x and y, x and z, followed by 106, 104. And since the question is asking for the minimum possible value of x, so the minimum possible value of x is here at 105. The minimum possible value of x will come out as 105, and this is indeed the correct answer. So the correct answer to this question right here is going to be 105. Right? A lot of people marked 106 on this by making an error, but you have to be careful of if you have solved the whole question correctly and then last may you make this stupid error, that's not good for you. So right then, that was it from my side for today. Just a reminder, I'm available on Unacademy Plus. This is my promo code. If you do join Unacademy Plus, you do decide to join Unacademy Plus, please use that promo code Arun.yt. It will give you access to not just my classes, but access to courses by a huge number of trainers, etc., who will be teaching you various courses live, as well as you'll get the recordings of those courses for your future use. Right then, so we'll stop here. Everybody, thanks a lot for being with me today. And as I was mentioning, you need to make sure that you utilize strategically these times, and we do not know how long quarantine is going to continue. So strategically, these times are going to be very, very important for you, very, very critical for you, because you can actually use this time to accelerate your preparation and accelerate the amount of time you're spending on preparation, accelerate the number of questions you're doing. Just to accelerate your preparation, make sure that if you're planning to finish off your phase 1 of preparation by June, then you try to do it by end of May, because you can easily do or gain 1 month work-wise, academic work-wise, during this time. So in a lot of ways, I know this is obviously the pandemic is not good news for the world, but there are some positive aspects to this, and you should try to make the maximum of the positive aspects to any situation that you have. So that's my advice for you, and try to keep a discipline on a daily basis. Try to keep a schedule on a daily basis. Define a time when you want to sleep. Define a time when you want to get up. Define an exercise regimen. If nothing, just walk around in your house. Make sure that you do that for at least an hour, so you don't get too lazy, and make sure that you stay safe, because social distancing is the only way to beat this virus. And we need, as a country, we need to do that together. We owe it to each other, we owe it to our elders, and we owe it to our future generations. Chalo, so thanks a lot. With this, I will wind up the session. Thank you. Bye bye everyone.